Elara, a botanist of exceptional intellect yet profound reclusion, navigated the ancient forest with an almost spectral silence. Her life, a tapestry woven with threads of scientific brilliance and agonizing grief, was defined by a singular, relentless quest. The memory of her sister, snatched away by a rare and aggressive plant disease, gnawed at her soul, a constant, searing wound. Elara believed, with every fiber of her being, that her sister's death could have been prevented, a preventable tragedy that now fueled her desperate search for a cure. Guilt, a heavy cloak, draped itself over her shoulders, driving her deeper into the forest's embrace, away from the judging eyes of humanity. Here, amidst the whispering leaves and dappled sunlight, she sought not only solace but answers, her every step a prayer for redemption. One late afternoon, as the sun dipped below the towering canopy, casting long, eerie shadows, Elara stumbled upon an anomaly. Deep within a section of the forest so ancient it felt untouched by time, lay a patch of flora unlike anything she had ever encountered. It was decaying, yet paradoxically exhibited a strange, almost unnatural resilience. The leaves, brittle and brown at their edges, pulsed with a faint, almost imperceptible green light, defying the natural order of decline. Her scientific instruments, typically stoic, began to hum with an unusual energy. Faint readings, almost like a whisper, emanated from the ground beneath the peculiar plants, a powerful, unseen force drawing her closer. Following the insistent pull of the energy signature, Elara meticulously scanned the forest floor. Her fingers, calloused from years of fieldwork, traced patterns on moss-covered stones until they brushed against a cleverly concealed seam. It was an entrance, overgrown with decades of creeping vines and ancient roots, blending seamlessly with the surrounding environment. The sheer ingenuity of its camouflage suggested it had been hidden for a very, very long time. A flicker of fear, primal and cold, snaked through her, but it was swiftly eclipsed by the surge of scientific curiosity, a powerful current that pulled her forward. This wasn't merely a discovery, it felt like destiny. With a deep breath, Elara pushed aside the heavy curtain of vines, revealing a narrow, dark opening. The air that greeted her was thick with the scent of ozone, damp earth, and something else, something ancient and forgotten. She squeezed through the tight passage, her pack brushing against the rough-hewn stone, the silence inside almost deafening. The tunnel sloped downwards, a subterranean maw swallowing the last vestiges of daylight. After what felt like an eternity, the passage widened, and she emerged into a vast, silent chamber. It was a dilapidated, abandoned laboratory, frozen in time. Dust, thick as snow, coated every surface. Archaic computers, their screens dark and lifeless, lined the walls alongside strange, desiccated botanical specimens preserved in amber-like resin. The scene hinted at a past, clandestine research project, shrouded in secrecy and left to decay. Among the scattered debris, amidst broken beakers and yellowed schematics, Elara's eyes fell upon a weathered leather-bound journal. Its pages, brittle with age, bore the elegant script of Dr. Eris Thorne, a name whispered in hushed tones within academic circles, a brilliant geneticist whose controversial theories had led to his professional disgrace. The journal entries detailed Thorne's audacious research into plant-based bioenhancements and their regenerative properties, pushing the boundaries of what was considered ethical. A chilling entry, scrawled with frantic urgency, mentioned Project Chimera and a volatile, sentient strain that had somehow escaped containment. As Elara absorbed the disturbing revelation, an unsettling presence began to prickle her skin. A subtle hum, barely audible, seemed to resonate with her own anxieties, a vibrational frequency that felt both external and deeply internal. She noticed strange, faintly glowing spores dancing in the stagnant air, seemingly reacting to her presence, swirling around her like microscopic, sentient dust motes. The journal's last entry, almost a desperate plea, ominously warned of a sentient intelligence within the plant life, hinting at a profound betrayal by a colleague. The lab wasn't merely abandoned, it felt like it was dormant, a sleeping giant, and something within its forgotten depths was beginning to awaken, drawn, inexplicably, to Elara's own unique genetic markers. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Elara, her pulse quickening with each turned page, found herself drawn deeper into Dr. Eris Thorne's world. His journal wasn't merely a scientific log, it was a testament to a brilliance tragically derailed, a chronicle of a mind dedicated to alleviating suffering. She learned of Thorne's initial noble intentions, his visionary quest to combat global famine and disease through revolutionary plant-based solutions. He dreamt of a world nourished by endlessly regenerative crops, healed by naturally produced medications. His ambition, once lauded, became his undoing. Among Thorne's personal effects, tucked away in a dusty drawer beneath a stack of faded blueprints, Elara discovered old photographs. One, in particular, seized her breath. Thorne, younger, vibrant, stood beside a familiar face, her own mentor, Dr. Silas Croft. Croft, then a fresh-faced protege, beamed at the camera, an arm slung casually around Thorne's shoulders. The image, innocent on its surface, now pulsed with an insidious irony. A shocking realization began to coalesce in Elara's mind. Thorne's early research notes, meticulously detailed, contained preliminary sketches of the very plant disease that had claimed her sister's life. The subtle, microscopic details, the peculiar cellular degradation, it was all there, a chilling premonition of her personal tragedy. Driven by a desperate need for answers, Elara began to activate the lab's dormant equipment. With each switch flicked, each circuit re-engaged, a low hum reverberated through the chamber, and the faint glowing spores in the air intensified. They no longer merely swirled, they coalesced, forming intricate shifting patterns, almost like a silent, ethereal language. It became terrifyingly clear. Thorne wasn't just studying plants. He was attempting to communicate with them, to synthesize a collective consciousness within the flora itself. He sought not to dominate, but to understand, to integrate. Then, buried within an encrypted data drive, Elara uncovered the truth of Croft's betrayal. The files laid bare a calculated corporate takeover of Thorne's project, orchestrated by a ruthless pharmaceutical company eager to weaponize Thorne's discoveries for unimaginable profit. Dr. Croft, initially appearing as a concerned colleague, quickly emerged as a central figure in this hostile acquisition. The documents detailed his insidious ascent, transforming from a trusted confidant to the architect of Thorne's downfall, ruthlessly steering the research towards bioweaponry. Croft had betrayed Thorne, stealing his life's work for personal gain, leading directly to the creation and accidental release of the volatile sentient strain. Her sister's death, Elara now understood with a crushing certainty, wasn't merely an accident. It was a direct consequence of Croft's insatiable greed and the uncontrolled proliferation of Thorne's tainted research. A hidden compartment, cleverly disguised behind a loose panel, revealed Thorne's personal letters. His elegant script, now imbued with profound regret, spoke of his desperate attempts to contain the spreading contagion. He alluded to a fail-safe protocol, a last resort designed to neutralize the strain, but it required a specific genetic key. A key, he wrote, that was profoundly unique, a rare marker. A chilling suspicion tightened its grip on Elara's heart. She unknowingly possessed that very key. As the lab's power hummed back to life, the plant life within and around it reacted with increasing intensity. Subtle movements, faint bioluminescence, and an undeniable sense of being watched permeated the air. Elara began to experience vivid, intrusive visions, fragmented memories of Thorne, the lab's original experiments, and the plant's burgeoning sentience. The entire forest above, she realized with dawning horror, was becoming an extension of this evolving plant consciousness, now acutely aware of her presence, her unique genetic signature. A sudden, distant tremor reverberated through the lab, shaking the very foundations. Elara's eyes darted to a newly activated monitor, displaying a live data feed. On the screen, Dr. Croft's team advanced through the forest, their figures stark against the ancient trees. They were equipped with heavy machinery, armed personnel, and an unmistakable air of clinical ruthlessness. Croft was here, not for rescue, but to reclaim the lab and its dangerous secrets, to erase all traces of his past betrayal, and, she feared, to silence her. Elara was now trapped, caught between a vengeful, sentient forest and a ruthless former mentor, both vying for control over Thorn's perilous legacy. As Croft's heavy machinery tore through the ancient forest perimeter, a new wave of intense visions flooded Elara's mind. The lab's plant life, now fully agitated, communicated directly with her, not through words, but through overwhelming sensory input. She experienced the sentient strain's original purpose, a profound desire to heal, to mend, to foster growth. It was a benevolent consciousness, corrupted and twisted by Croft's ruthless manipulation, forced into a defensive, aggressive posture. The plant pleaded with Elara, its collective will resonating deep within her, urging her to activate Thorn's failsafe, not to destroy it, but to purify and redirect its immense power. It yearned for its true purpose, a symbiotic existence, not the weaponized monstrosity Croft had created. Above ground, Croft, his face a mask of paranoia and desperation, barked orders into his comms. He commanded his team to deploy highly destructive sonic weapons, intending to neutralize the plant life, to silence its burgeoning sentience before it could expose his crimes. He approached the lab's entrance, his voice amplified, cutting through the growing hum of the forest. He revealed his true, chilling motive: to monopolize a controlled version of Thorn's strain, to create an empire built on artificial life and engineered cures, holding humanity hostage to his corporate greed. He first attempted to bribe Elara, promising her a place at the apex of his new pharmaceutical empire, then quickly resorted to threats, his eyes glinting with malice. He knew about her sister, he sneered. A cruel reminder of her personal tragedy, a weaponized truth meant to break her resolve. Elara stood at a precipice, torn between the searing desire for vengeance for her sister and the sentient strain's earnest plea for redemption. The choice was clear, yet agonizing. She would not destroy this nascent consciousness. Instead, she would fulfill Thorn's true vision, to guide it towards healing, to restore its benevolent purpose. With unwavering resolve, she moved towards the failsafe console, her unique genetic markers now recognized by the ancient system. As her hand touched the interface, initiating a complex resequencing of the corrupted strain, a surge of raw energy coursed through her, a profound connection to the very essence of life. The lab pulsed with an ethereal light as Elara activated the failsafe. Above, the forest erupted in a magnificent protective surge. Vines writhed with newfound vigor, bioluminescent flora pulsed in unison, and ancient trees swayed with an almost sentient rhythm. The resequenced strain, now purified, unleashed a powerful, non-lethal counterfrequency. It washed over Croft's team like an invisible wave, incapacitating them instantly, rendering their destructive sonic weapons utterly useless. Croft, blinded by rage and defeat, lunged at Elara, a desperate final act of violence. But he was met by the awakened plant life, which gently yet firmly restrained him, its tendrils wrapping around him, holding him captive without harm, a silent, powerful testament to its reawakened benevolence. With the threat neutralized, the purified strain began its work. It spread outward from the lab, healing the decaying patches of flora, transforming the wounded forest into a vibrant, symbiotic ecosystem. Croft, now exposed and helpless, faced the full force of the law and public scrutiny, his empire of greed crumbling around him. Elara, finally unburdened by guilt, understood that her sister's death, though tragic, was not in vain. It had led her to this moment, to a profound healing, a scientific breakthrough that transcended mere human ambition. The abandoned lab, once a tomb of forgotten secrets, was reborn. It became a sanctuary, a living testament to Thorn's true vision, a place of profound biological harmony overseen by Elara. She dedicated her life to understanding and nurturing the benevolent power of the sentient plant life, ushering in a new era of ecological interconnectedness. The forest, once a place of haunted memories, now thrived as a beacon of hope, its ancient trees whispering tales of redemption and rebirth to the gentle breeze.